My name is Nora Kincaid. I'm 36 years old, the disowned daughter of Houston oil tycoon Harlan Kincaid, and the only member of the family who ever failed publicly. While my siblings were boarding private jets and padding executive titles, I was trying to rebuild a tech startup from the ruins of a ruined marriage and an even worse reputation. I never fit into their world. Not enough edge, not enough cruelty. And maybe that's why they thought I wouldn't notice when my name disappeared from the family trust, or when my identity started showing up in places I'd never been. I used to believe hitting rock bottom was the end. That was before I found out my bankruptcy wasn't an accident. It was a blueprint. And someone designed it knowing exactly how long it would take to break me. The letter didn't arrive in a brown envelope. It came in white, heavy paper, thick with arrogance. Final asset forfeiture. Effective immediately. My apartment gone. My mother's wedding ring seized. The last investment I made in the company I helped build transferred. I read it twice, then a third time. No typos. No mercy. I grabbed my phone. My fingers shook, but the number I dialed was muscle memory. Harlan Kincaid, his voice answered, sharp as ever. It's me, I said. You knew. A pause. You're a disgrace. You are no longer my daughter. The line went dead. My stomach did the same. Night fell hard. No food. Just vodka from a bottle I never opened since the divorce. I sat on the floor. My apartment echoed with silence, the kind that doesn't feel empty, it feels watched. At 11:47 p.m., my phone lit up. Unknown number. I stared at it until it stopped ringing. Seconds later, a text. You need to see this. I think they planned your downfall. 3417 Elmsworth. Basement. Come alone. No phone. The message deleted itself as I watched. Auto-destruct settings. Which meant encrypted messaging. Which meant someone smart. Careful. Paranoid. Like me now. I left everything. Pockets empty except a penlight and a single knife tucked in my boot. Houston's air was thick that night. My car was the last thing I owned, technically leased under a dissolving LLC. I'd be walking by morning. Elmsworth was the kind of street you didn't notice unless you were looking. I parked 4 blocks away and walked. Shoes off. Quiet. The door to 3417 was cracked open. Unlit. A voice whispered inside. Close it behind you. The basement smelled like copper and mold. There were no windows. At the bottom, a single bulb swung above a metal table. A woman stood beside it, mid-30s, leather jacket, scar across her temple like a question mark. You're late, she said. I wasn't invited. She slid a folder toward me. Inside, copies of my signature on asset transfer forms. Perfect matches. Only, I never signed them. They forged everything, she said, starting 6 months before the bankruptcy. My throat burned. And the company I co-founded, repackaged, sold to a holding shell 3 days ago. They called it an innovation merger. That deal? It's worth $35 million. I looked up. They didn't just bankrupt me. They buried me alive. And now they're scared I might claw back. I didn't ask for her name. She didn't offer it. She motioned to the folder again, flipping to the last page. I stared at the signatures. Mine, identical, precise, mechanical. But I never signed a damn thing. They used a copy stamp from an old lease you filed in 2021, she said. Standard trick in white-collar takedowns. Nobody checks a signature until it ruins you. Her voice was dry, like she'd watched too many people burn and stopped caring if they screamed. Who are you? Eliza Venton. I used to work inside Kincaid Corporation Legal Ops. She smiled without warmth, until I realized loyalty only works one way. My fingers curled. Why are you helping me? Because you're not the only one they buried. We moved fast. Eliza drove a beat-up black Yukon that smelled like old cigars and fake leather. She didn't talk much. But when she did, she dropped landmines. You weren't just cut out of the trust, she said. They scrubbed you. Your shares. Your passwords. Even your voting rights as a board member. I blinked. I wasn't a board member. You were, she said, for exactly 19 days. Then they filed Form 1120 under a shell vote while you were hospitalized last year. Remember that migraine you had in Denver? The hair on my arms rose. You mean? Drugged. Replaced. Silenced. Warehouse. East Side. 2:17 a.m. Eliza led me through a coated gate and into a dark corridor. At the end, a metal door. Inside, blinking servers. Coffee cups. 2 monitors. And a man with a limp, typing fast. Jace Marlowe, he said. Ex-FBI cybercrime. Now I freelance for fun and justice. He didn't smile. Jace tossed a folder onto the table. I traced the asset trail. He pointed to 3 names. WYLD Tech Holdings, Raven Glass Partners, Caspian Sands LLC. Shells, he said. All funded through Cayman. All used to buy pieces of your company, your IP, and your equity. And who's behind them? He flipped the page. A name in bold. Harland Kincaid. My throat locked. Jace tapped again. This deal, your old algorithm rebranded, is going live in 72 hours. Projected value, $35 million. No credit to you. All routed through his lawyer, Arthur Lee. Arthur's dead, I said. Jace shook his head. Stroke 3 years ago. Faked. That was a body double. Arthur's still active. Hiding in plain sight. I grabbed the edge of the table. What do they want? You broke formation, Eliza said. You weren't supposed to succeed without them. Your comeback threatened their empire, so they reset the board. My stomach turned. When money fails, Jace said, power silences. And when that fails, they erase you, Eliza finished. A screen blinked. Jace spun the monitor. Live surveillance. Footage outside the warehouse. 2 SUVs. Tinted. Someone stepped out. Head down, hoodie up. Eliza muttered, they found us. The lights cut. Power dead. Emergency backup. Flared red. Move. Jace growled. We ran. Back exit. Through crates and chain link. Sirens in the distance. Wrong direction. Not police. Not yet. We reached the alley. Eliza shoved a duffel into my arms. Proof. Contracts. Code logs. Take it to Unit 12, Midtown Storage. Locker 11C. What about you? She didn't answer. Jace pulled me by the wrist. We separate here. He drove. Fast. Engine low. Tires silent. My breath came shallow. You said this was the first step, I said. The first step to what? Jace didn't blink. Your collapse wasn't a consequence. It was the ignition sequence. What are you talking about? He handed me a photo. Grainy. Surveillance style. It showed a man standing at a marina dock. Head turned. I dropped it. That's... I couldn't say it. My voice cracked. That's Malcolm Virio. Your godfather. Declared dead in 2008. My fingers shook. Jace looked over. You're not at war with one man, Nora. You're in the middle of an inheritance coup. And you're the only one not playing a part. He pointed to the sky through the windshield. Dawn breaking. But it looked like blood. If you want to burn them down, we start in 72 hours. That's when the $35 million goes live. The storage unit smelled like dust and cold metal. Locker 11C. Midtown. Exactly where Eliza said. I rolled the door up an inch. Stopped. Listened. Nothing. Inside, the duffel sat where it shouldn't have been. Centered, squared, like someone wanted it found. That's how traps look when they're dressed as gifts. I dragged it back with my foot. Zipped it open. Contracts. Code logs. Board resolutions. A thumb drive taped to a manila envelope with 3 words written in block ink. 72 hours. No mistakes. I breathed once. Deep. Slow. Someone once said pressure doesn't break you. It reveals what you were made of. I hoped that was true. Cut. Rooftop parking garage. Dawn. Houston bleeding orange at the edges. Jace stood by the concrete rail. Laptop balanced on the hood of his car. His limp looked worse in the morning light. He didn't complain. They sold it, he said. Your algorithm. When? 2 hours ago. Quiet filing. Asset purchase agreement. Clean. Legal. My stomach dropped. To who? He turned the screen. A logo bloomed. Sleek. Minimal. Familiar. Kincaid adjacent. They rebranded it, he said. Changed the name. Same bones. Same architecture. Your fingerprints are all over it. How much? 35 million on the open. 42 projected by Q4. There it was. The number that kept showing up like a countdown clock I couldn't turn off. I laughed once. It came out wrong. He disowned me over pennies, then cashed in on my life's work. Jace closed the laptop. This isn't about money. No. It never is. Money is just the excuse power uses to move quietly. Cut. My phone buzzed. A blocked number. I didn't answer. It rang again. Then again. A text this time. You shouldn't be here. I scanned the garage. Rows of concrete. Shadows. Wind pushing trash across the floor, like it had somewhere to be. Jace followed my eyes. We're not alone. Another text. Same number. Smile. Cameras on. I ducked instinctively. Too late. A click echoed. Shutter or trigger, I couldn't tell. We ran. Cut. Inside the car. Engines screaming. Tires catching air as we dropped levels. A sedan peeled out behind us. Black. No plates. AMC. I asked. Too sloppy, Jay said. This is private. The sedan closed fast. Jay swerved. I felt the seatbelt bite. Glass exploded as something struck the rear window. Hold on. We burst into traffic. Horns. Screams. The sedan hesitated, then vanished down an exit ramp. Silence rushed in, loud as a gunshot. My hands shook. I pressed them together. Someone once told me fear is just your body asking if you're ready. I didn't answer it. Cut. Back at Jace's place. Blinds drawn. Lights low. The city outside reduced to a rumor. He plugged the thumb drive in. Lines of code flooded the screen. Then emails. Internal comms. One thread caught my eye. She'll break. Like always. We own the narrative. Who wrote that? I asked. Jace zoomed in. Came from a Cayman relay. Routed through a dead firm. Dead. On paper. Another file opened. Video. Grainy. Dockside. A man standing by a boat. Head turned just enough. My breath stopped. That's not possible, I said. Jace didn't speak. The man turned. Older. Thinner. But the eyes. Malcolm Vireo, I whispered. My godfather. Declared dead 15 years ago in a boating accident no one ever questioned because no one wanted to. Jace froze the frame. He's alive. I shook my head. I went to the funeral. Closed casket, he said. No body. The room felt smaller, like the walls were listening. A new message pinged in. This one didn't hide. Funds initiated by Amvirio. I stared at it until the letters blurred. He died 15 years ago, I said. My voice sounded far away. Jace leaned back. Or someone made us think he did. Cut. The door downstairs slammed. Footsteps. Heavy. Close. Jace killed the lights. We moved. Quiet. Fussed. The footsteps paused outside the door. A shadow slid under the frame. A knock. Polite. Controlled. Nora, a man's voice said, "We should talk." I knew that voice. I'd heard it once at a gala, through laughter and champagne. Arthur Lee, supposedly dead. Jace mouthed window. I shook my head. Too loud. Too exposed. The handle turned. I grabbed the laptop. The screen flashed one last time before going black. 72 hours. The clock had started. And the truth was finally hunting us back. The bayou swallowed sound. Rain hammered the trees like it wanted something back. The cabin sat on stilts, half-rotted. Lights off. Generator hummed buried under thunder. No neighbors. No cell service. Exactly the kind of place you go when you don't want to be found. Or when someone wants you gone. Jace killed the engine 100 yards out. We moved on foot. Every step felt borrowed. People think isolation is safety, he whispered. It's not. It's permission. I nodded. Someone once said the quietest places are where the loudest decisions get made. I believed it now. We reached the steps. The door was unlocked. Inside, the smell hit first. Oil. Damp wood. Copper. The lights flickered on as if they'd been waiting for us. That's when I saw the cameras. 3, 4, 5. All pointed inward. They're watching, I said. Were, Jace corrected. The door slammed. A siren wailed, sharp, mechanical, too close. Red light strobed. The cabin shuddered as steel shutters dropped over the windows. Trap. Jace lunged for the breaker panel. I ran for the back room. Rain lashed through the cracks. Thunder cracked, so close my teeth rattled. The shot came from nowhere. Jace went down hard, a grunt torn from his chest. Blood bloomed at his shoulder, dark against the rain. Not fatal. Meant to slow. Meant to warn. Sniper, he hissed. Tree line. I dragged him inside, slammed the door, heart slamming louder than the alarm. I pressed my hands to the wound. Warm. Vet. Real. Stay with me, I said. Not my first hole, he said, teeth clenched. Find the drive. I tore open drawers. Papers everywhere. Maps. Cash. A hard case under the bed. Inside, an external drive labeled with one word. Confess. The siren cut. Silence fell like a held breath. I plugged the drive into the laptop. A video autoplayed. Malcolm Virio filled the screen. Older. Thinner. Alive. If you're seeing this, he said, eyes steady, it means one of two things. I'm dead. Or Harland found me first. My pulse roared. He spoke fast. Controlled. Like a man used to speaking before he's interrupted. Harland didn't inherit Kincaid Corporation. He took it. He staged my death to force a board shift, used my absence to consolidate power. I let him because survival buys time. The camera shifted. Someone moved behind him. A woman. Out of focus. Familiar posture. My breath caught. Lexi. I whispered. The video glitched. Cut. A new clip. Different angle. Night. Marina lights. Lexi Archer stepped into frame. Panic written all over her face. You can't stay, she said. He knows. He's watching everything. Then hands grabbed her, pulled her back. The screen went black. I stared. My mind raced. Red herring. That's what Jace called it. The easy villain. The one you're supposed to hate. She didn't betray us, I said. She tried to warn him. Another file opened. A message thread. Harlan's number. Arthur Lee's number. Lexi's replies short. Coded. Fear between the lines. Do it, or she's finished. I'm trying. Give me time. Time is over. The floor shook. A second shot shattered a beam outside. Wood splintered. They're tightening the circle, Jay said. His face was pale now. Sweat slicked his brow. We move. How? I looked at the shutters. The generator. The rain. A thought snapped into place. Someone once told me that when the system locks you in, the only way out is to overload it. I grabbed a crowbar. ran for the generator. Jace fired once, warning shot. The tree line went quiet. I slammed the crowbar down. Sparks flew. The lights died. The shutters stuttered, then jammed halfway. Go, Jace yelled. We ran. Rain swallowed us. Mud grabbed my boots. Another shot cracked, missed. Close enough to feel the heat. We hit the tree line. Darkness. Breath ragged. Heart feral. The cabin exploded behind us, small, controlled. Evidence erased. Cut. We drove until the road turned to asphalt and the rain softened to a whisper. Jace pressed gauze to his shoulder. I watched the mirrors. Always the mirrors. Lexi's alive, he said. It wasn't hope. It was math. Jace nodded. And that means Harlan didn't finish the job. I thought of my father, his voice on the phone. Cold. Final. Someone once said power doesn't need to explain itself. It just expects compliance. Harlan expected mine. He wouldn't get it. We pulled over under an overpass. Sirens wailed far away. Not for us. Not yet. I opened my phone. No service. One bar flickered to life. A message queued. Time-stamped minutes ago. Unknown number. He's coming for her next. I closed my eyes. Inhaled. Exhaled. Another line surfaced in my head. Something I'd said once in a boardroom full of men who thought they owned the future. If you want to know who's lying, watch who panics when the truth gets close. Harlan was panicking. And if Lexi was still alive, then Harlan didn't finish the job. The city lights blurred through the rain-streaked windshield. I didn't breathe until the building loomed, tall, glass, sterile. Kincaid corpse downtown tower. Midnight. Closed board meeting. Someone wanted to bury the truth inside. Someone was about to get burned. Jace limped beside me, eyes hooded but sharp. We go in, I said. We find the original contract, then expose Harlan. He didn't argue. The lobby was empty. Too empty. Cameras tracked our every step, their red LEDs blinking like eyes. I nearly counted each one. Paranoia is a contact sport, I whispered. Jace didn't laugh. We reached the service elevator. Eliza hacked the panel. 2 codes, a pause, green light. Inside was darkness. Just us. The hum of electricity. We hit 42. The door opened to a hall of law cabinets. Archive boxes lined the walls. Dust and secrets. History never lies, Jay said. It just gets rewritten. I thought of that moment in law school. Someone saying reputation is like glass. Once cracked, every reflection is distorted. I moved like that cracked glass. Cautious, edged with fear. I found the drawer. Folder labeled. Kincaid Caspian Original Transfer. My name was there. Not forged. Verified by 2 witnesses. Dated before the bankruptcy. An actual document, stamped legal. Victory? Or bait? Before I touched it, the lights cut. Total darkness. A hum, then an electric buzz. Sirens in the distance, weirdly close. We've been made, Eliza said. Then, from the shadows, a figure stepped into the beam of a dying emergency light. Lexi. Wet hair. Pale. Eyes glowing like she hadn't slept in days. I didn't think you'd still trust me, she said. I didn't say a word. She walked to the drawer. Looked at the contract. That's real, she said slowly. But not the whole piece. I frowned. Her phone buzzed. A text preview flashed. Let's end this tonight. Ush. She swallowed. He knows we're here. And he's already on the way. Footsteps thundered above. Heavy. From the skylight, rain spattered like bullets. Then a knock. Loud. Deliberate. Jace tensed. Police. Lexi shook her head. The door splintered. Man in tactical gear spilled in. Guns raised. 3 of them. Freeze, one barked. I raised my hands. No vadis. No colors. Just hard faces and orders. Hand over your weapons, the voice pressed. I didn't move. Another shot rang, a warning into the ceiling. Lexi leaned toward me. They're on Harlan's payroll. Everything slowed. Rain on the roof. Heartbeat pounding. Lights flickering. A shot of pure tension. I heard myself think. Truth isn't a shield. It's a spark. And sparks burn fast. In the chaos, Jace flipped sideways, grabbed one gun with his injured hand. A struggle. Steel hitting steel. Glass cracked. A fist-sized hole in the window. Rain sprayed in cold and sharp. I dove for the contract. Then chaos exploded. One of the mercs raised his weapon at us. I heard myself shout before I registered it. Run! We bolted into a side corridor. Doors slammed behind us, echoing. Lexi stumbled, pain written on her face. Jace dragged her up. We hit a stairwell. Down. 2 floors. Then the alarm blared. Red. Loud. Escalation. We burst out into an underground delivery bay. A truck idled with its lights out. No drivers. No keys. Just us. And 1,000 miles of wrong choices. I pulled open the back. We piled in. Lexi on the floor. Jace beside her. I closed the doors. Heartbeat rattling. I fumbled the contract, taped it to my chest. A message ping. My phone alive for a second before dying again. Stop now or she dies. I swallowed air. Cold. But I spoke. Fear is a liar dressed in hours you haven't survived yet. No one answered. We hurtled out of the bay. The city behind us flickered like dying embers. The contract against my ribs burned heavier than steel. We had the proof, but they had the guns. And Harlan wasn't done playing. He was only getting started. The rain was relentless. Cold sheets of water slammed against the windshield as we tore toward Austin. Jace drove like the road was the only thing keeping us alive. Lexi sat beside him, eyes hollow but sharp. Every mile felt like a countdown. I clutched the contract to my chest. It weighed less than a brick, but carried the force of a hurricane. Someone once said, "The measure of a life isn't how it rises, but how it withstands the fall." I was learning the cost of every rise, every fall. The rehabilitation center was a fortress. Brick walls, razor wire, cameras blinking like eyes in the dark. Harlan would expect us here. Expect blood. Expect fear. But he didn't expect truth. We slipped through a side entrance. Jace, found buried in blueprints. A janitor's closet. A vent shaft. Feet dangling. Cold metal. Too quiet. Floor 3. Isolation wing. I felt eyes on us. No one there. The air smelled of antiseptic and regret. We found him in room 312. Malcolm Virio. Alive. Thin. Eyes bright with fury and something softer, relief. Harlan sent them, he rasped. Said if I spoke, assets would disappear. Silent clauses hidden in portfolios and trust funds no one reads. I swallowed. I knew about hidden clauses. I learned how markets bury truth until it's too late. Then the door burst open. A man in a suit, face red. Authority on his chest. DA. I'm placing everyone under protective order, he barked. Harlan's been linked to securities fraud, falsified transfers, and multiple counts of coercion. Lexi blinked. What? The agent laid out papers. Warrants. Indictments. Jace whispered. They found digital breadcrumbs. Enough to bring down an empire. Harlan wouldn't get away this time. The agent looked at Malcolm. We need your statement. Now. He breathed slow, weak, but he stood. A click. A camera in the hallway. Footsteps echoed. Harlan. Wet suit. Furious. His eyes landed on us like missiles. Malcolm, he hissed. You betrayed your blood. Lexi stepped forward. You staged his death. You framed Nora. You destroyed lives for profit. Harlan's jaw flexed. I built this company. I built this family. You built fear, I said, not faith. He advanced. The DEA agent placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're under arrest." Harlan's face twisted, disbelief, rage, shame. A cocktail of every empire taker's last drink. Sirens, flashing reds. Media vans converged. Cameras like vultures. Harlan was marched out, cuffs clinking, reporters shouting. I stood with Lexi, Jace, and Malcolm. The world watching. The storm breaking. Someone said, "Truth doesn't break you, it frees you." And in that moment, it felt real. Malcolm coughed, weak but determined. "They wanted silence," he said, "but we made noise." I let the words settle. Not triumph, not relief. Just quiet, honest quiet. Later, in the courtyard, sunlight at last, the agent handed me a folder. Financial disclosures. Legal clearance. Public apologies filed. My name restored. My company assets returned. Lexi's credentials cleared. Jace compensation for his injuries. I exhaled, maybe for the first time. Lexi walked up, hair still wet from earlier chaos. "You ready?" "For what? Freedom? Vindication? A world that watched everything." I nodded. "We go forward," I said, "not because we survived, but because we refused to be controlled by fear." She smiled, small real. That night, I stood by the hotel window, watching the city lights flicker like distant pulses. It hit me then, life isn't a ledger. It's not a rise or fall. It's the spaces in between where you choose to act. Someone once said, "Courage isn't absence of fear, it's action in spite of it." I thought of every step back I took, every time I swallowed doubt, every moment I chose to fight. Harlan lost. The truth won. But deeper than that, I won me. The phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I ignored it, because some ghosts are meant to stay buried. The rain tapped at the window, not as thunder, but as rhythm. Steady, unstoppable. I turned the lights off, walked away, and for the first time in a long time, listened to silence that wasn't afraid of the storm.